to the next level. Today we have Christine Smith and Laura Tidquist presenting. Between the two of them, Christine is our Director of Business Solutions and Laura is our Technical Services Manager. And between the two of them, they have over 40 years of iMIS experience. And as you can tell from the pictures on the screen when you were in the waiting room, they had to have started learning iMIS when they were in elementary school. So we have a lot to cover today, so I won't talk for very long. If you have questions throughout, please use either the chat window or the questions window within your GoToWebinar toolbar. Also, if your screen size you want to adjust, if you look in the upper left-hand corner of your GoToWebinar viewer, there's a zoom option, and you can zoom to scale to fit, or you can go full screen. Sometimes that helps depending upon the resolution on your computer as well as the slides that Laura and Christine will be sharing. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Laura, and we'll answer all your questions at the end and kind of talk about a few other webinars that are coming up. So Laura, it's all yours.
Great. Thanks everybody for taking the time out of your busy day to jump on this webinar about talking about how you're using iMIS. And when Christine and I were working on putting this slideshow together, we talked about, what are people using today and where is iMIS going? So we're going to kind of run the gamut because we do know so much about iMIS, where it's been and where it is and where it's going. So we're going to do some old school stuff and some new school stuff, and we hope we can, throw out a few tips and bones for you guys to take back to your day-to-day jobs that'll help you out. So we're just going to jump right in here. So again, our agenda, old school data entry helpers, our favorite reports. So we're going to just highlight a few reports from customers, events, some data integrity tips, other tips from the orders, AR cache, and events module. And Christine, jump in if you have anything to add. So
thank you, Laura. Yeah, I wanted to tack on to what Laura was saying, is that when we were chatting about this, we go out to a lot of clients and we see that they don't know that certain things exist, and so please write down your questions, because I think the biggest part of this presentation is going to be the question and answer at the end, because we really want to know your frustrations. We really want to know where you're struggling, so that we can maybe hit upon those type of things if we're not covering it in these slides that we're going to go through quickly. So
yeah,
that's all I wanted to add.
Exactly. And another thing is, a lot of us, we've all been iMIS trained, or maybe we've never been iMIS trained and just kind of took on the position. There's a lot of stuff in iMIS that people just didn't know existed that has been there since iMIS was a baby. So one of the things that iMIS can do is auto-capitalize the first letter of every word. It's a setting under File System Setup in iMIS, where you turn on this upper-lower checkbox right here, and that will then tell iMIS that when you're typing in any field to uppercase the first letter of every word, with the exception of the words that you put into this lowercase words box. So words like of and for, those automatically would not be capitalized. So that's kind of a cool, did you know that you could do that in iMIS, a data entry, if you got a big customer service department that does a lot of data entry, sometimes that can help out. Some of the other things that maybe you didn't know, or maybe you don't have turned on in your iMIS database, is that the zip code can automatically be populate city and state. That again is a setting under customers, under setup module, address and notes. These use zip table and zip control city. When you're typing in an address, you skip the city and state. You just type in the 5-digit zip code and hit tab, and iMIS backfills the city and state for you. So again, another data entry helper. When you're entering phone numbers in iMIS, you don't have to worry about formatting them. So you just enter the 10 digits, hit tab, and iMIS will format it. And then the other thing that a lot of people don't know about is once I've entered the phone number here, the 10 digits on the work phone, once I hit tab, if the area code is the same, then I can just enter the 7-digit phone number, and iMIS will assume the same area code and populate that for me. So again, another data entry tip. When you're entering dates in any of the date fields, so join date, paid through date, dates when you're running reports, or dates when you're setting up your events. There's different ways that you can quickly enter in the dates without having to format them. If I just enter the number, like 15, it'll say, oh, we're in this month, so it'll populate 8/15/2014. So for today, I might just put in 20, and it would put in 8/20/2014. I can just type in 08/15, and again, so I could do 09/15, and it would put it in September 15th, 2014. Or I can put in the full 6 digits, and again, it tabs over to format it that way for me. So depending on, what you need to do, those are, again, another quick helpers on entering dates. Keyboard shortcuts. So if you're a keyboard person, there's a lot of back and forth between the mouse now that iMIS is getting more web-friendly and more web-based, but a lot of us still like those keyboard shortcuts. So Control F is for find when you're in the main customer window, or when you're want to look up a registrant in the register a customer window, you can do Control F to do a find. Control L, anytime you see the looking glass, Control L will also be the same as clicking on that button. Control Z, this is one that I find that a lot of people don't know about when you're doing data entry, and some of those boxes are itty-bitty tiny and you're putting a lot of text into them. You put your cursor in there, do Control Z, and it'll zoom out a bigger box so that you have a bigger box to type or put your text into. Control E will put you into edit mode. So let's say you're looking at a registration and you want to edit it. If you don't want to click edit, you can do Control E. That'll put you into edit mode on that registration. Alt S will do save. Control I will insert a new record. Some other keyboard shortcuts, Alt P will, if you're on the customer's portfolio screen, that'll take you to automatically to the profile tab. So if you're tabbing through and entering a new record, you can tab through, member type, status category, then all the name fields, the address fields. Then you can just do Alt P and jump over to the profile tab. And there are keyboard shortcuts to jump from tab to tab. Control T will let you edit your tab preferences, but there's a whole list of all those keyboard shortcuts on docs.imis.com. And so here's a link, or you can just go out there and do a search for keyboard shortcuts. And depending on your version, it'll bring up that list for you. So that's kind of cool. The clipboard. The clipboard is always a cool thing that a lot of people don't know about. At the bottom of the customer portfolio screen is this little button right here. You click it, it'll by default copy name, company, and title and address. Then you can use paste or Control V to paste that information in a Word doc or an email. It's customizable, so if you want more than just name, company, title, and address, like you wanted to add email address to that, under Customers Setup Module Advanced, there's this CP clipboard formula where you can add in some additional fields into that. So it would be their name, their full address, and their email address. So that's kind of a cool thing to the clipboard. Sorting your tabs. A lot of people don't know that you can sort your detail tabs and your history tabs just by right-clicking on any tab, going to Edit Tab Preferences, and then there's a window where you can rearrange and turn on and off tabs that you do and don't want to see. It's specific to your login name, so you just set it up, close and reopen iMIS, and they're set that way until you change them again. Indexes. This is a way to add up to 4 additional searches in your find window. So when you do a find in customer, or when you're looking up someone to do a registration, or in Service Central, this will let you add up to 4 additional searches. So here's an example. We could add state. We could add email. I've even had customers say, I want to be able to search by first name. So we've added, some great ones and some different ones. But you add them here. There is an update to one of the utilities, the rebuild name indexes, and if you're not familiar with that, your iMIS reseller can help you update that and get those set in iMIS. So our favorite reports, I'm going to hand this one off to Christine and let her talk for a minute. Christine, did we lose you?
I guess I have to unmute. I guess I have to unmute to talk, don't I? Sorry about that, everybody. Yes, I'm going to go over some of our favorite reports. We just put a couple in here, and what I wanted to do was kind of show you today and tomorrow kind of reports. So if we go to the next screen, are you going to drive for me?
Yep.
Great. Oh, you are driving for me. I'm on the wrong screen. Okay, so here on the desktop, we've got member counts by member type. And what I've noticed in some organizations that we've gone out to, that people didn't even really realize that there were these generate reports out there. I don't know if they just haven't been given access. If you can't see these, I would go to your IT person and ask for the ability to get in here, because there are so many standard reports out here. And this one's great because it just tells you, who's in your database, what are the member types, how many are there, and what are your total member counts. So this one we think is a great, quick, and easy report. Now, if you go to the home page, now this is where our two worlds are meeting, the old iMIS and the new iMIS. You see that on the home screen we're using graphs here, and those are query graphs, and that's what we use a lot of in the staff site, and we're going to see that next. But here it's a great way to kind of look at that in a visual format instead of having to look at it in a report. This is a great screen, and I don't know if anybody actually customizes this, but what we've done for a lot of our customers is that we've added iParts onto this home screen, like Twitter feeds, so people can see what their company Twitter feed is doing. And so we've added different things. So that's just a really kind of a RISE page, so that can be customizable. Here's the staff site, and we're seeing a little bit more of these kind of graphs, and this is all configurable as well, but what we're really going towards in the future is more visual reports instead of actually running reports. So we thought that was kind of cool. And then what we have a client who's using the staff site, and I just think this is the coolest thing. They have a bunch of queries, / reports that they run, so they just created a tab for it. And when they click on it, they've got all of their most recent or the most popular queries that all of their staff run, and they just put them down the left-hand side, and they can easily get their current member count from here. So this is a great way to utilize iMIS without everybody looking around everywhere for their reports. And this is going to be for IQAs as well as SSRS reports. You can't use the Crystal reports out of the staff site. So the next report is just a simple AR statement. If you go into the desktop view of iMIS and you go into the AR Cache button tab at the bottom, you'll see to the right there's a print statement. So you can actually just go there and you'll get a statement of account. Very easy, breezy. Now they've got in the staff site, you can actually do this as well. It's even a little bit more advanced where somebody can actually go and pay an invoice, but they now have, and this is the latest version, where you can actually print a statement from the staff site. The other cool thing about this is where you really want to get to the point where you're utilizing iMIS is when you're creating a member portal, and you can stick that out on the member portal so that person, like in this particular situation, Alex Morgan, can go print his own statement, and nobody in your organization needs to do it. So that, I think, is very cool. Then we have, this is another cool thing, same group. They put their dues notice out there, and they did this on their member portal as well as on their staff site so that they could just go to somebody's record and print out their dues invoice right from a tab. So these are ways that people are using the new technology to really utilize iMIS and make their time short in getting these type of reports out. Events, this is one of Laura's favorites, the meeting status with class breakdown. This is nice because it's going to give you all of the different the registration classes, how many people have signed up, and the amount of money. Now, I do know that in the staff site, it tells you how many, but not how much revenue that you've generated with each class, and you can probably update that, but it's not out of the box in the staff site. So that one was really cool. Here's the staff site where you can get more visual, like we said before, reports, as well as counts. We could probably add the revenue in another column there, but out of the box it doesn't. So that's another way of looking at it going forward. This is one of my favorites, and for some reason people don't know it's there. If you're in the events department, you've got this week's out report. This will tell you, based on this meeting, where were you last year? Where, how much money had you made by this week? So this is just one that I was surprised when I was at a client and they didn't know it was there. So when you go to the staff site in iMIS 20, when you start moving forward, you've got, this is really the kind of the closest thing you've got to a weeks out report, but it's very cool. It's a progress tracker. So it'll allow you to put in what your goals are and see how far you've come with them. So I just wanted to kind of stick that in there because it was a cool kind of report without having to run one. Now, data integrity, I'm big on this. You know, I just truly believe that to utilize your system, you need to make sure that your data is correct and the integrity is there. So here, I just created, you know, an IQA that went and found, in this instance, everybody who doesn't have an email. And I created a little RISE page, and I put a little, you know, HTML, please keep our data clean. We need emails for everybody, a little picture. So you could have this come up on the home page, like we were talking about, like we saw before where I said you put a Twitter page, but this could be something that it just puts 5 up there, or it puts all of them, and then you have staff members that when they have downtime, you need to go to this IQA, click on that one, call that person and say, can I get your email? You know, so it's a way of having IQAs look through the data to see what you're missing that you really need and give somebody the task of actually getting that data. So that's one idea. We actually have a module that we created called the ATS Quality Control Module, and that was actually a system that will go check the data for you. So you're gonna tell it what you want to be done in your system and what's right, what's not right, and you can even set this up so that if somebody doesn't put in the required data, you can make it send that person an email and say, hey, you didn't enter in these 3 fields. You need to go back and do that. Or maybe it doesn't go to that person. Maybe it sends an email to their boss and says, you know what, they didn't fill out this screen right. So we have more about that on our website. I don't want to get too much into that, but that's another way of actually keeping the integrity of your data. And then we have, that's really kind of the reporting area, and feel free to write your questions away on that on the question board for the question and answer time. Now we have our other tips. Is this your part, Laura?
Sure, I'll talk about these. So some of the other things that we kind of hear people talk about that we've seen as we're helping them implement their online stores is they say that they have to put in all this inventory for products that they either, you know, make on demand, or maybe it's an electronic document, and they didn't know about, you know, the stock item box here in orders. If you don't need to maintain order or inventory for a product, just don't check the stock item box, and then iMIS will ignore the need to maintain any inventory, and you can just sell them to your heart's content. So that was just kind of one that we've seen a little bit. Publication demographics. This is another piece of functionality in orders I think that is highly underutilized, because I think a lot of people just don't know about it. But it lets you track some additional info, you know, kind of standard publication info for your books and things like that that you sell. So the way that you do that is when you set up your product categories in iMIS, you just need to check this box here that says Use Publication Demographics. And then as you're creating your products and you assign that product to that category, this publication button becomes active, and then you'll see you get this little screen that lets you track author, publisher, date of publication, ISBN number, format, edition, and number of pages. So this is great if you're selling books and need to track that type of information. Kind of, you know, Amazon, always, you see that on Amazon whenever you're looking at books there. So if you could put that on your website, then, you know, you're getting one step closer to offering, you know, what people experience on Amazon, which is, you know, really kind of one of the greatest shopping sites in the world right now. The other thing that we see that, you know, is kind of new school. It's been around for a few years, but master products. And master products has taken us to a whole new level with selling things like apparel. Because we always had to go into iMIS and we had to create, if we sold shirts, we had to put in, you know, a red long sleeve shirt large, a red long sleeve shirt small, and we had to put in each one of those products, and we didn't have a way on the web to just say, I've got a shirt, and then someone can come in and say what color they want, how long, what length of sleeves that they want. Well, the master products are going to let you do that. And if you haven't worked with them yet, it's really a cool thing. The first thing you do is you build out your attributes. So for our apparel, we set one up for size, color, and sleeve. And then you create your master product and you apply each of the individual products into the master product and assign the appropriate attributes to those products. So this t-shirt, large, red, long sleeve has the size of large, the color of red, and the sleeve of long. And within each of those attributes, we set up like small, medium, large, extra large. The colors are, red, white, green, blue, whatever you have, and then long sleeve, short sleeve. And so then online, the person sees the logo t-shirt, and then they get to browse through and pick the size, the color, and then the sleeve length. So that's a great thing. I had a tip in AR Cash that I just recently had to help a customer with this because it was kind of a gotcha. And it's just one of those things that's been around forever, but it's still, don't do it. Whenever you need to adjust or edit a registration, don't do it in AR Cash because it doesn't update the orders tables in AR Cash. And if you do make a change there and then you go back and look at the registration, you won't see that registration updated. Some of the accounting will get updated, but the registration itself won't. So always use the events module to update your registrations. Another thing that I think is highly underutilized in the events module is the event resources. This lets you get rid of those data silos and let iMIS be the only data silo that you have. It lets you be able to track anything for your events. You can track food and beverage, audiovisual requirements, speakers, anything that you need to do for your planning that you might have some stuff in an Excel spreadsheet, you might have some stuff in a Word doc. You can build out those resources here in the events module to really track anything that you need. I've got some examples here where once we set up our resources, you go into your function under the More button, and then under Planning, I can plan my food and beverage. I can plan my audio-visual. I can do staff assignments where I can say who's taking tickets or who's checking the food and beverage, who's putting the signs out. I can assign speakers. So for each of my functions, I'm going to build a function for everything that happens during my event, whether people are going to register for it or not, so that they can do this tracking. Who are my speakers for this function? Do we have their bio? What's their honorarium? I've helped people build out very, very extensive sets of event resources to keep everything in iMIS. And then iMIS has a great set of planning reports that here for my annual meeting, for each of my functions, it's going to put in my times, my registration numbers, and then break down all of my resources that I just set up within each of those functions. So again, I can now display that online because it's in iMIS. I don't have data all over the place in different programs, and it just keeps everything in one great spot. The other thing that I always thought events was a great thing to be used for, just above and beyond registering for meetings or webinars, is you can use it to track advertising. And what you do is you just build out an event for each issue of your advertising. So here, Journal Advertising September 2014. If you have it for each month, you can then just clone this event. You have functions for each of your ad sizes, so back cover, color fees, half-page ad, inside back cover, and so on. And then you can use all the great event reports, all the different rosters, the function rosters, so you can see how many half-page ads do I have. So it's all there for you, built in. So the events module is a great way to track your advertising rather than just, doing product orders or something like that. So you can say, who are all my advertisers for September that aren't advertising in October? You can do some IQAs to compare that and then do some marketing, based on that.
The other thing, Laura, that I love about that is that you can utilize the invoicing. So you can invoice them out of here. You can print the AR out of here. So there's a lot of cool things for good reasons for using the events module for your advertising.
Yep. Great. So those are just kind of some of our quick tips and tricks that we kind of came up with in this half an hour webinar. So what are your frustrations? What do you think is holding you back from using iMIS to its full potential? Oh, we'll go ahead and take some questions.
We do have a few questions here for you, Laura and Christine. One is, when do you think the old iMIS desktop view is going away?
That's a good question.
So you've seen iMIS running on the DOS side all the way through to Windows, and now they're moving everything to the web. When are you anticipating, or what is ASI saying regarding when the desktop view will go away?
I'll give my little answer. I put it this way: they still Omnis code in the setup that was there 20 years ago when I started putting in iMIS. I do not believe the desktop is going to be gone anytime soon at all. So that's my own opinion. It's not based on any certain fact, but being around this long, I would have to think that it's going to be at least a few years, if not more. You, Laura, do you have any ideas?
Yeah. My best guess, the stuff that's still in the desktop that is really deep in the old Omnis code is the setup of all the accounting stuff, and the events functionality. I think we've probably got a couple years at least as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. So kind of piggybacking on that, with the discontinuation of the iMIS desktop in the future, how will rapid data entry be handled?
I think that, and I'll just take a quick shot at this and then let Christine, tack onto it, but I think that where iMIS is going is away from staff doing data entry and your members self-serving themselves through the web, and I think that's kind of what they're going now with this engagement management system as opposed to the old association management system. Christine?
I totally agree. The whole engagement side of things where the member is going to be putting in their data, and I think that too when you think about you're putting in information, if you're pulling reports or IQAs that involve company information, let's say, that's only on the company record, you just combine the two. So between the IQA reporting and the people putting it themselves, I think that's really where the future is there.
Oh, great. All right, so Julie says if you are entering a new customer, it is possible to copy another customer record and then just update, i.e. if they are from the same company, so only name and email are different. So I don't know if that's a question or a suggestion or an answer there, a solution. But if you're entering a new customer, is it possible to copy another customer record and then just update?
There's not a way to do that.
Yeah, I think she's asking. Yeah, I mean, at this point, if you're in the desktop and you put in the company ID, it will flow down information from the company record so that you're just really putting in the name and the email. And then you in the setup, you can add what fields you want it to flow down. So, for instance, if you have like total revenue that for some reason you want it to come off the company record and onto the total revenue field in the individual record, you can add that field to be the flow down. So that might help a little bit.
Okay, great. Thank you. So the only other we have is good info, but we move very quickly. Can we get the slides to help jog our memories? Absolutely. We will be posting the slides on our website. If you look in the chat box, the URL is there. It's www.atsol.org/webinar. All of our upcoming webinars as well as past webinars, the slides and the recording of the sessions are available out there. Also, we have our next upcoming webinar will be next Wednesday, August 27th at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and it's titled Generate Revenue Using iMIS Events in the ATS Online Marketplace. I think you'll definitely want to tune in for that one. There are a number of enhancements to the ATS Online Marketplace, which is an Amazon.com-like shopping or e-commerce solution for your organization. If we don't have any other questions here, we'll go ahead and hand this over to Laura and Christine. You have anything else you want to say before we get off the line here?
I think that's it. Just thanks for everybody's time. And, if you get frustrated with something that you think you can't do, it's always great to ask the question. Get out on the docs.imis.com site or get on the NIAG listserv or go to your AISP and say, you know what, I can't do this. Is it possible? And usually there's a way to do it. So that would be my words of encouragement or wisdom from 20 years with iMIS.
Great. And if you have questions or would like to schedule a more in-depth demonstration or consultation with Laura or Christine, you can send an email to info@atsol.org. You'll be receiving a follow-up email that contains that information as well. Thank you, Christine and Laura, for the great presentation. Thank you, everyone else, for attending today. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.